during the pandemic, obviously, we'd stopped touring. So we'd stop playing shows and stuff like that, which for us was like really weird because we're always on the road. We're always playing shows. So there's never like, I never have time to sit back and like think or anything about it. It's just, yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Like, we're always doing stuff. Whereas when the pandemic happened, I was like sat at home a lot and like I started overthinking like my vocals and my vocal style and the way that I did things and other vocalists that were coming out at the time and what they sounded like. And I was worrying about all these things and I kind of started having like a bit of like a fucking crisis basically. And like my confidence was shot to shit. And I thought I couldn't do it. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Like, I don't know what's going on. I just can't. Do you know what I mean? I just can't get up there. I can't. Like, my whole confidence had been like shattered. And I was just scrolling through social media on Instagram one day, and David from Extreme Vocal Institute's videos were coming up in my feed, and he was just like, I don't know, something just like clicked with the way that he was explaining things and the way that he was describing things and like in his videos about vocals and stuff. And I was just like, do you know what? I was like, I'm going to fucking contact him. So I got in contact and yeah, we started doing sessions together, like Zoom sessions like this. And because he's based in America, and he gave me access. He gave me an account and access to their EVI Now program, which is amazing. If anybody's watching or listening, it's an entire vocal, course. And there's like fucking like 80, 90, maybe 100 videos on there. And they're all like segmented into subjects and they're all like in an order that you should probably work through. And there's stuff from like absolute beginner to like absolute pro, like, and everything in between. It's really amazing. And so I had that. So I started working through that. And then we started doing sessions together. Now, the sessions that we did together, it wasn't like standing there doing vocals or anything like that. There was never any of that. It was all like psychologically building myself back up, finding the root of the problems and the causes of why my mindset had changed and what was holding me back. Because it wasn't anything physical. It was all up here. So David would like talk me through stuff and like give me like exercises to do. And basically like brick by brick, he built me back up. And now I'm more confident and I'm better vocally than I've ever been. Like, I'm able to do loads of different shit now that I couldn't do before. And that's just from David just unlocking my brain basically and just figuring out why I was thinking the way that I was thinking. Like, he had me doing stuff like it was like my favorite thing that he had me doing was he was like, stop overthinking your vocals. He was like, stop like thinking that you have to gear yourself up to do it. He was like, you should just be able to do it as simply as talking. Right. So he was like, so when you're having a conversation like with your wife or your kids or friends, family, he was just like, halfway through the sentence when you're talking, just switch to your vocals and just finish the sentence in your death metal vocals. So I started doing that, like, because then it just becomes like natural, like, do you know what I mean? So it's like you're not really thinking about like, you know, you're having to go like beforehand or anything, like, do you know what I mean? So then it's like you're just talking in that voice. So I started doing that, and obviously my wife thought I was fucking losing my mind, But then it's like I'm doing it in the shop. I'm doing it like
You actually do it in the shop?
Yeah, in like Aldi and shit like that. Walking around in Aldi, just like, do we need beans? What are we having for breakfast?
Have you? There's a guy. I've forgotten his name now. He's a beatboxer, and he just someone hands him a tin of beans. And he just goes, oh, beans, but like he says the beans in this proper like beat. It just cracks me up. I get
amazing.
Total, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, did you not get any funny kind of?
Yeah,
police turning up.
No. But I had like loads of weird looks and stuff.
Yeah,
but it's like he was like, you will get that though. He was like, but this is the part where it comes in mentally to not care. To not care, to not worry about what other people are thinking, like, because there was a lot of that, like, do you know what I mean? I was like worried about, can I stand up? Can I stack up against all these other vocalists that are coming out now that sound fucking amazing and shit? Like, there was a lot of that. Like, it was because, you know, it's like, I was just like, shit, like, am I fucking obsolete? Like, do you know what I mean? But then it's like, you have to realize that it's not a competition. Just, he was like, be you. He was like, no one can sound like you. Do you know what I mean? He was like, because your voice is unique. Everybody's voice is unique. So just be you. And then like, once I started thinking in that manner and just started being so relaxed about it and not giving a shit as much, not in a bad way. I mean, obviously I give a shit. I want it to sound amazing. But like not giving a shit about other vocalists and like that kind of shit. He was just like, you'll feel so much more relaxed and it'll come much more naturally and you won't be overthinking everything you're doing. And he was right. He was totally right. Like, so, and now I'm just super comfortable with it. Now I'll just do it wherever and be happy about it. Like, and I'm happy with how my vocals sound now, whereas I wasn't before. But yeah, it's like I've never thought I was like a sick vocalist or anything. My bread and butter has always been being a good frontman. So like when you see us live, it's like if you want to compare us to like all these other bands where it's like, oh my god, the vocals are sick and all that shit, and it's like yeah, but it's fucking boring to watch because they don't do shit. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I like to think I'm a fucking sick frontman, and that's exciting. Like, because otherwise, it's like, yeah, you're all good on CD, but it's piss boring to watch live because you can't move anywhere because you ain't doing shit. Like, do you know what I mean? So, like, that's where my bread and butter is. It's like I'm a passable vocalist, but I'm a good frontman.
I found it interesting that you were saying about that. It almost sounds like his mentoring more than his actual tuition is what got you to where you are now.
Yeah,
through that whole process, which is quite interesting, and because I've been sort of working on my vocals a little bit because I just realised it's such a useful thing. Yeah, so like I'm a guitarist, and I was in a band a while back, and now I'm not, and I kind of think like, do I just go and try? Because I've tried singing on and off. Like in terms of what I like to write sort of clean vocal stuff.
Yeah,
still like heavy music, but I lean more into the clean vocal side for my own writing. Although I listen to a lot of harsh vocal kind of stuff. And yeah, it's weird. Like so I go and I went this morning. I go like 8 o'clock in the morning. I go to the little studio because I still get it for free with my university, which I'm not aware of. But so hopefully they're not listening.
just bleep that.
Yeah, I just go down to and yeah. But then the cleaners are always, there's no one there, but the cleaners are there. So I'm always in my head, I'm like, what the fuck do the cleaners think is going on? Because like, you have to make some weird noises, right? Like regardless whether you're singing, like screaming, whatever, there's weird noises coming out. And I'm trying to get a bit of grit into my voice, so that obviously requires some strength. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's getting out of your own head. It's like I'm trying to, especially like as a guitarist, there's something so much less embarrassing about being a shit guitarist than being a shit vocalist. You know,
I think that's because I don't mean this in a negative way. Like being a vocalist is much more you're much more exposed.
Yeah,
because you are your instrument.
Yeah,
and like with a guitar or a bass or a drum kit, there's something to hide behind. I mean this mentally, like as a mental thing. Like there's something to hide behind. There's another, do you know what I mean? There's like an exterior thing. Whereas with a vocalist, you are so exposed because you're right at the front of the stage. Like, let's say 80-90% of the focus is on you. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's like
I'm a guitar nerd. I'm staring at the guitar.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, generally, like the focus is on you because you are the front man. You're the man at the front, and there's nowhere to hide when you're a front man. So it's like, I think that's what it is. Like, I think it's like you said, like you're not as conscious about playing guitar as you would be about doing vocals. I think that's like quite telling about that, because you are way more exposed because it's your voice, it's you, it's personal. Do you know what I mean? I know it's your hands playing the guitar, but it's the guitar making the noise. Do you know what I mean? Whereas when you're singing, it's literally you making the noise. The noise is coming from within you. So it's like that's what I think anyway. Because I always sometimes I always think, oh, I wish I could play guitar. Do you know what I mean? I do though. I wish I could play guitar.
I'll swap you a lesson as if your guitarist can do
yeah,
it.
man. Nah, Sean would never teach me guitar. He's like, I'm like, oh, can you teach me guitar? I'm sure I've definitely asked him over the years. He's like, nah, man, I'm not teaching you. He just thinks it'd be a nightmare.